Alaikum everyone, this is Huzaifah Ahmed from Rehan Korangi campus. Today I'm here with another topic for discussion with ChatGPT, which is how to write better and communicate your ideas clearly. Hey ChatGPT, today the topic of discussion with you is how to write better and communicate your ideas clearly.
That's a great topic. Clear communication really is a superpower, whether you're writing or speaking. What kind of writing or communication are you thinking about? Like emails, reports, or maybe even storytelling?
For now, let's introduce this. What does it even mean to write well? Is it about grammar and vocabulary or something deeper?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So, writing well is definitely more than just having perfect grammar or a fancy vocabulary. It's really about clarity, purpose, and knowing your audience, making sure your ideas come across in a way that resonates and doesn't confuse. So, it's a bit of a balance style, structure, and audience awareness all wrapped in there.
Why do so many people struggle to put their thoughts into words clearly? What's actually happening there?
Yeah, it's really common. I think a big part of it is just that we often have a jumble of thoughts in our heads. So when we try to express them, we rush or we assume the listener knows what we mean. Plus, a lot of times people haven't really reflected on their own ideas deeply, so they don't have a clear structure to follow. It's kind of like an internal fog that just needs some untangling.
So, how to turn that fog into something that can be easily read by the listener and heard by the listener?
Yeah, great question. I think one of the best first steps is really outlining your main idea before you write or speak. So ask yourself, what's the core message? Then break it down into a few key points. And once you have that, you can work on the flow using simple language, transitions, and examples. It's kind of like creating a mental map so your reader or listener can follow along easily.
What's the connection between clear thinking and clear writing? Which one comes first, in your opinion?
That's a great point. Usually, clear thinking comes first. When you take the time to really sort out your thoughts, what you believe, what your main points are, that clarity inside you will naturally flow into your writing. So, the process is often think deeply first, organize your ideas, and then the writing just becomes a tool to express that clarity.
All right, what are the most common writing mistakes that make ideas confusing or hard to follow?
Yeah, definitely. Some big ones are things like overly long sentences that just go on, or jumping between ideas without clear transitions. Sometimes people bury their main point in a sea of details, or they skip necessary background info. Also, lack of a clear structure, like a beginning, middle, and end, can leave readers feeling lost. So, clarity often comes down to structure, pacing, and making sure each idea has its own space to breathe.
Right, what's the core difference between writing to impress and writing to communicate, and why does it matter at all?
Ooh, that's a big one. So, writing to impress often focuses on showing off your skills, like using big words or complex structures, while writing to communicate is all about making sure the reader really gets your ideas. And it matters because if you just impress, you risk leaving your audience behind. But if you focus on communicating, you connect, you build trust, and people actually remember what you said.
How do the best writers in the world, aka journalists, authors, and leaders, approach the writing process differently?
Yeah, the best writers tend to have a really intentional process. A lot of them start with research, digging deep into the facts, the context, or the story they want to tell. Then they draft, but they don't just stop there. They revise a ton, often getting feedback from others. And they're really purposeful with their language, choosing each word, thinking about rhythm, and testing it out loud. It's a mix of discipline, curiosity, and a willingness to keep refining.
Okay, what role does editing play in good writing? Is the first draft ever good enough?
Editing is absolutely crucial. I mean, the first draft is really just your raw thinking on the page, so it's never perfect. Editing is where you refine, you cut out redundancies, you sharpen your ideas, and you make sure every word serves a purpose. Without that, your writing will often stay blurry or disjointed. So, editing is really where the magic happens.
How do you adapt your writing style for different audiences? A professor, a client, or a social media follower?
Yeah, that's a key skill. The main thing is understanding who you're talking to and what they need. So, for a professor, you might focus on being precise, using formal language, and backing up points with research. For a client, it's about being clear, practical, and solution focused, keeping their goals in mind. And for a social media follower, you keep it concise, relatable, and often a bit more conversational. It's all about tailoring the tone, vocabulary, and focus so it really lands with them.
What's the impact of reading regularly on your ability to write and communicate more effectively?
Oh, it's huge. When you read regularly, you kind of soak up the rhythms of good writing, different styles, and a richer vocabulary. You see how others structure their ideas, and that subconscious exposure makes you a better writer. Plus, it broadens your perspective. So when you communicate, you have more examples to draw on, and you just sound more confident and nuanced.
Okay, how has digital communication, text, email, or social media captions changed the standard of good writing?
Yeah, it's really shifted things. Digital communication tends to be shorter, more informal, and often more immediate, so clarity and brevity are key. At the same time, there's less room for nuance or complex arguments, so sometimes that can lower the perceived standard of deep writing. But it also pushes people to be super intentional. Every word counts. So there's a new kind of skill in being concise yet impactful in these digital spaces.
Okay, now lastly, what's one writing habit someone can build today to immediately start communicating their ideas more clearly?
I would say start with a habit of outlining before you write. Even if it's just a simple list of the key points you want to make, it forces you to clarify your thinking. Once you have that structure, your writing naturally stays on track and you're less likely to go off on tangents. So just give yourself that small step before you dive in.
All right, everyone, this was the end of my discussion with ChatGPT for today. The main thing it tried to tell us was that it's better to outline your ideas before writing. So, until the next one, Allah Hafiz.